I've had this journal in my stash for a while, but as my priority was to review a bunch of white paper journals first, this one had to wait. Now that I've reviewed it, I can't wait to use it. Welcome to the world of craft paper. Hi, I'm Ruby from the Useful Journal. I post .grid journal reviews, I show you my journal spreads, and I post videos of my washi tape art. Today, I'm reviewing a Notebook Therapy 160 GSM craft paper .grid journal. I will talk to you about the company and their products. I'll talk to you about packaging, the constructions features and markings of the journal, the paper. I will talk to you about my pen test, which I've designed specifically for the craft paper. And I will talk to you about the company's approach to environmental and social responsibility. Notebook Therapy is based in the UK, but they distribute their products directly from China, where the journals are made. There is one downside to Notebook Therapy's business model, and that is that they don't have direct oversight over the quality of the products and how they're being shipped out. Arranging returns and the like can be a bit roundabout because we as a customer contact Notebook Therapy's head office and then they have to contact the company that makes and ships the products. And so there can be a bit of a delay and it can be a bit slow. They have a wide range of products for journaling that can only be purchased through their website. The craft journals are mostly only available in A5 and sometimes in Travelers. Currently, they have one of each size with different covers. I'm afraid the cover I'm showing you today is no longer available. The craft paper journals have 150 GSM dot grid paper and 176 pages. They work out at 20 cents US dollars per page, which is slightly more than their white paper journals. But on the upside, Notebook Therapy's shipping is free even if you're only purchasing one journal. The journal arrived in a cardboard box lined with bubble wrap. The journal box was wrapped in plastic shrink wrap, and then inside the journal was wrapped in tissue paper. I bought my white paper journal later on, and that journal was wrapped in honeycomb packing paper, so they are improving. The journal came with a mini wire bookmark that matched the cover design. The journal has a brushed cotton velvety texture cover with images and branding stamped in rose gold foil on the front cover and spine and back cover. The journal has an elastic closure that hasn't marked the cover, no pen loop, and 2 ribbon bookmarks in a complementary colour that aren't long enough to pull around the corner of the book. The pocket on the inside back cover goes all the way across and so doesn't create a ridge that can be felt through the back pages. The page edges are plain and there are rounded page corners. The journal weighs 485 grams, which is 50 grams lighter than the white paper version, even though there is the same number of pages. The journal has a hard cover with a stitched book binding. It lays flat when you open it. The construction of the journal is great. The joins between the signatures are even, and while they have been glued a fair way in, meaning the pages at these joins don't sit flat against the spine and you lose some page width, they can be pressed down evenly without ripping at the stitching or creating an uneven gap between dots on the two sides. The page edges sit inside the cover. The ribbons are glued in, but there is no headpiece that adds extra security for the ribbons and stability for the spine, so I hope they stayed put. I can't speak for this specific journal, but I used a Notebook Therapy journal as my bullet journal for 7 months, and there was no cracking of the spine or pages or ribbons falling out. There is an owner page, but no other specifically marked pages, although there is a little quote on the back page. There are no page numbers. The pages have 27 dots across the page and 39 down the page. The dots are a slightly darker grey than I've seen on average, but as they're quite small, they don't stand out on the page, especially on the craft paper. The dot alignment is excellent across the double page spreads. The lines of dots are always an equal distance from all page edges, and the consistent difference from the center of the two-page spread is perfect for a column either side when you're creating a double page layout. Craft paper can vary quite a lot because it varies from coarse packaging to finer art paper. The 150 GSM paper in this journal is one of the smoothest versions of craft paper I've seen. The other thing that varies in craft paper is its colour, and this journal has the lightest craft paper I've seen too. You can see this when I compare it to the craft paper in the Life of Colour journal. The different texture and colour of each one has its advantages, but if you're new to using craft paper, the Notebook Therapy Journal will give you a reasonably similar experience to using white paper, but with only a slightly greater level of texture, and of course it's darker than white paper. The more texture there is, the better your coloured pencils will grab the paper, but it's not as pleasant for using fountain pens as you feel the texture through the pen. Another downside of textured paper is that some of your pens may skip on the paper. As I said, this particular paper is pretty smooth, and I'm pleased to say that the only problems I had was with the white Signo pen skipping, and frankly, that pen plays up a bit. So overall, I would say the paper is smooth and easy to work on. Following my various tests, I can say that there is barely any page crinkle from using gouache paints or watercolor pencil with water, and absolutely nothing shows through the paper in any way. I loved painting with the gouache on this paper. I did find that colouring over the same spot with the broader Posca pen led to the surface starting to pill, so this is something I will keep in mind. The journal has zero bleed through from any pen. When there was no bleed from the ultrafine alcohol-based Sharpie, I then tested it with a fine Sharpie and even coloured in with it, and there is not even a peep of colour on the opposite side of the page. Of course, then, there was also no ghosting. Writing with several different fountain pens with different brands of inks was fine, and I was surprised but happy there was no feathering. The lead pencil erased cleanly, and typical of craft paper was the ultra-quick drying time of a Pigma Micron pen, which didn't smear even after only 2 seconds. The highlighter didn't smear the pen either. I don't know of any whiteouts designed for craft paper, so if I make a mistake in this journal, I will probably have to cut out pieces of craft paper and glue them over my mistakes, or I can just try and not make any mistakes. I added a little comparison of Tombow colours on white versus the craft papers so that you could see that the colours are duller. The only colour that really changes colour is blues, which go a little bit green. The craft paper in the journals has not been certified by the Forest Stewardship Council as being obtained from sustainable forestry. While they say under the journal description that the journals are 100% vegan, I often find that they're probably only referring to their journal covers because it is really rare to find vegan paper. And because the journals haven't been certified as vegan, I'm a bit skeptical that the paper is also vegan. It's probably just the covers. They also provide no information about social responsibility. It's a shame because when a product is made in China, it would be nice to know whether the workers in the factories are being looked after and whether they're being paid adequate wages. Notebook Therapy also don't seem to contribute to any charities or community work. I've only tried a couple of craft paper journals, and so far, this one is definitely the nicest to use. That's mostly because it's lighter in colour and the paper is a lot smoother. I particularly loved the results with gouache, and I'm so excited that it was pleasant to use fountain pens and that there was no feathering. So that means I can write with confidence in this journal. I will probably have to stick to darker inks though. I've never made a secret of the fact that I don't love Notebook Therapy as a company, and I don't like that they've made no effort to reduce the environmental impact of their products. If you want to know more about my opinions on this, check out my review of their white paper Suki journal. Despite this, I do like their journals. I like how they perform and I like their paper. I'm really excited to use this craft paper journal, and the cover design is one of the cutest in my collection. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and if there's a journal you'd like me to review, please let me know in the comments. See ya.